All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Back again. After quite a break, I have been kind of unmotivated. What? Oh. There we go. I was wondering where my buildings went. But I've been very lazy as of late. Well, no, I've been very busy as of late, which is why I haven't really streamed. But we are back. We're going to have to kind of refocus because it's been a while since I've streamed. It's been like 2 weeks, almost. Something like that. Let me post my links here. But basically, I've had a ton going on. I've been finally getting real work. And yeah, it's just made it difficult to stream consistently, and then getting back into the rhythm always takes a little bit, like motivation. Because I could have streamed the past couple days. I just did not. And I haven't really made any progress on this game because usually I stream pretty much all of my progress. I do some work off stream here and there, but a lot of the work I'm doing now is not just on this game. So I need to get back in the rhythm. Just get used to it again. The other thing that I'm realizing is I should probably start locking in some of the systems. Because I know I can make stuff that looks cool. Like, I'm pretty good at being able to, like, design how I want the vibe to be. I made this asteroid way bigger. Which I think is good. But yeah, I'm good at figuring out how I want things to look, but then mechanics and gameplay loops and just game design in general, I just haven't really thought about for long enough to lock anything in. I sort of know what I'm doing in general on this, but I haven't thought about the actual mechanics of, like, okay, what is your square one? Where do you start? How do you start interacting with the forest, getting creatures to do work for you? What do those interactions look like? Yeah. Because there's a lot that needs to be planned. And I can kind of just keep adding, visual stuff, but it just, which I will because I enjoy it, but I just need to lock something in. That smoke, I can have it, I can have it fade out. Right now they just kind of disappear from existence. So let me do that real quick. We got smoke. Go to use as albedo. Oh, wow. Look at that. I've learned a lot about the particle systems recently. That's insane. Okay, let's look at our display. Let's go to color curves. Alpha curve. Do a curve here. Yeah. Let's try that and see how that looks. It looks wild with that lighting, but... Curd, what's up? Or Curd Jr.? I don't know. How is it going? It is going well. We are just kind of getting back into the rhythm of things with my game, or trying to. Okay, now our smoke is crazy looking. Look at that. That's wild. Did I have some hue variations? I must have. That is crazy. Okay, we will see here. Yeah, we do have some hue variations. Blip. Okay. It is kind of interesting. Ooh. That could be good. Just like a little bit of the red. I like that. Yeah, I like that. And then they fade out to 0, so they don't pop out of existence. Very good. I like it. But Curd, how you doing? Okay, we still have the Tree of Life up there. I'm still trying to figure out what I can... Well, I can look at my early alpha, or not alpha, my early beta testing, whatever it is, like early Discord build list that I need to do for people to be able to playtest the most basic version of this. Doing well. This looks great, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, we've done a lot on the vibe, but and we do have a decent amount of systems built in, so like we have some basic crafting systems. We have items that you can pick up and play around with. We have the build system, so you can build a base, but we don't really have much mechanics past that yet, so we need to start figuring things out. We have some creatures in the game. We've mostly been working on okay, how do we get navigation working for different sizes of creatures? We got an issue here. Why do I still have guys getting stuck? And what happens? Because that should not be happening. If I do that, then he resets and starts running away. But yeah, we have some bugs for sure to work through. But we really need to start working on the gameplay loops of the creatures of the forest, where you work with them, even if it's just deciding what that is. We just need to put some thought into it. What's the main game loop? So I have a general idea, but I don't know what the specifics necessarily look like. But it's basically you start out in the forest. There's different zones that you are kind of moving into over time. And your goal is to kind of end up at the top of the mountain where that giant glowing tree is. And the way that you do that is you unlock different zones that move higher and higher through interacting with the creatures around you and getting them to kind of help you out. You basically can work with them, so then they will work for you. So this rock golem guy might, help unlock another section by moving some boulders out of the way or something like that. But basically, you're getting them to help you out by helping them out, pretty much. The only thing is, when it's set up like that, because this has some survival elements, but when it's set up like that, and you're trying to unlock different zones and move further and further up, there is kind of the issue of your base. Let's say you build your base down here or something. and your main base is here, then it's like as you progress up, are you building more and more houses for storage and stuff? Are you going back and forth a lot? How hard is it to kind of traverse that? I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't really planning on having true combat in the game. It's almost more puzzles. But it's going to take some time to figure it. My dude, it has been a while. Yes, it has, Corner. Good to see you. If you can build, then can't you just skip everything by doing so? That would be another thing where it's like, I would probably just put some hard blocks in there. There would be some explanation as to why you couldn't. I don't know what that mechanic would be, but, you know. Right now, technically, you can just, like, build as high as you want. Of course, right now I'm in kind of a debug mode where I can fly, but, yeah, there's no, like, limits. But I would do some sort of way of blocking certain areas from being able to be built on. Something like that. It's kind of hard to think about it. I mean, in some ways I could just make it so resources are low enough where you're probably never going to be able to do that. I would still put a hard block in there, but like resources are limited enough where you wouldn't even really try because it just take too long or something. Yeah, stability, it could be. I'm planning on adding some sort of stability in some ways, but I don't know. The other thing is that I really do need to think about the core loop more, because it also isn't necessarily the biggest deal if people exploit. Like, I don't actually care that much if someone builds something crazy, as long as they're having fun being creative, you know? So if they're doing stuff like this, and that's what they want to do, then okay. Because a big part of the game is just like, you want to be able to build cozy places, pretty much. So I don't know. We're early on enough where a lot of this stuff is up in the air. Because I really haven't spent that much time on this project yet. Because a lot of, even like my build system and inventory system were mostly already built in plugins that I had made, so I've only really been working on this a couple months, but when I think of the gameplay, what I'm thinking about is basically you're doing a little bit of exploring, you're doing a little bit of gathering, you're dealing with the various creatures. You're building out a cool little cottage. You're decorating it a lot. That'll be a big part of it. Were you going for an exploration Stardew Valley game or a linear experience? Sort of linear, but it kind of started out as maybe not. But I think sort of linear. I don't know, man. Now you guys got me questioning everything. Now I do really need to think it through, because I've just had a general idea and a general vibe mostly that I'm going for. But making the mechanical game design decisions, that's what I need to think about. Because there's ways I can make it. Like, I need to lean into whatever is the best part of whatever my strengths are, but then also whatever the best ideas I've had for this game. Just lean heavily into those. And I think part of that is just the coziness and the vibes. Because I have always kind of thought about it and been like, I don't care if anyone ever progresses if they're just having a good time building a little cottage and, like, interacting with the creatures. But if I go that route, then there could still be story elements and like this, you know, this linear story that you can follow. But then the world itself needs to be engaging right away. Like, you need to be able to have a ton of stuff to do right in the starting zone, if that's the case where I'm like, I don't care that much if people progress. Yeah, yeah. If it's linear, I'm quite interested in how you will tie in the building aspect. Like, why would the player bother building if it's just temporary? Yeah, this is the difficulty that I'm trying to figure out, because even as you go up the zones, because you're going towards the top of the mountain, right? The building, there is like the mechanic of having cottages and being inside gives you certain bonuses. There's probably also some things like, oh, you can't, you know, maybe you can't place a certain type of crafting thing unless it's inside a house or something. But then there comes the issue of like, then comes the issue of how many times do you want to rebuild in every zone like a full house that has all of your crafting stuff? It's like probably not that much. Or you make it really easy to travel between zones. A lot of the stuff you can kind of leave behind because it's not that big of a deal. Like, if you're interacting with, let's say, the rats, right? Let's say you befriend the rats, and a big horde of them start working for you, and they run out into the woods, they gather wood for you and bring it back to these boxes. Because that's kind of part of it, is like, you know, you're getting the creatures to work with you. Then it's like you have a whole system that's just running down here while you're up there. Maybe you have to come back and grab stuff. But yeah, this is going to be... These are the difficult questions, right? For me, it's easy to come up with a good look and a good vibe. Past that, it gets difficult. And since it's been a couple weeks, I can't just go on the momentum that I had before. I've got to figure things out again. We do have the first playable demo list of stuff that I can work on. Grass Bros are not harvestable yet. As far as the where your like, why would you build a base? I could go to my original idea. Gameplay is the most important. Yeah, I mean, it's big. I know I have gameplay in that in a sandboxy way. Like, as far as the cozy element of the game, there's gameplay there that is more like sandboxy, design your own cozy cottage. But does that hold for the other aspects of, like, story? Like, does that do enough? But like, this is my previous prototype that I had been working on, which had this guy right here. Okay, let me toggle time 1, toggle time. Okay. This was a prototype that I was working on. Why is my tool all messed up? Okay. Okay, there we go. Why is it all wonky? Anyway. But this was one that I was working on where you have a mobile base. And I could pull elements of this in. Like, I could pull this creature in. Because, like, you can... In this, you could actually just, you know, walk around with your base. So I could just, you know, have my base walking around or be in it while it's walking around. And so I could pull in an element like that, where you have your mobile base. And that would fix some of the, you know, cottage issues. I don't even need him to be this giant guy. Although I do like this guy. Reminds me of Howl's Moving Castle. I've heard a lot of people say that. Yeah. Which I've never actually... I'm not, like, familiar with it, but I do love the idea of just having a mobile base. Like, it's fun, you know. Oops. It's fun to be able to just, you know, roll around. But yeah, game design is very difficult if you're trying to, especially if you're trying to do anything halfway unique. Which is why it's not always a good idea to go unique, because your unique idea most of the time is something that's actually not very good. But we will figure it out. We will come up with something. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get some coffee rolling. Be right back. All right. Let me think. So initially it was like, let's say you have your main zone, zone 1, and then you have another zone that's unlockable, and then another one, and then another one, and another one, and then there's like the top of the mountain. And I was kind of thinking about the progression as you go up. Or zone 1. Really like subtractive design for games, especially game jams. Have you tried it? No. Is that like putting like constraints? Oh, okay. Just removing Removing everything that doesn't directly apply. Is that the general gist? Yeah. Okay. Okay, then. Let's think about it in this way. Decide actual game. Perfect. When I started this, original vision, create a cozy house where you can decorate. That was basically initially it. I was like, I want to, like, this is the type of game that even my wife would play, or actually just that my wife would play. And she does not play games ever. But she would play a game where you create a cozy house where you can decorate. Fishy, what's up? How you doing? So this was the initial idea. And then once I started making cozy stuff, I was like, I just started building on it. So it was additive more. Then it became progress up the mountain through symbiotic relationship with the forest. Basically working with the forest to be able to progress. Still a possibility there. Vinge, truly a chart if I've ever seen one. Very good, yes. Could also look at how Dark Souls 1, I think, did the zones. If I remember correctly, it's vertical as well. Dark Souls is, I've never really played it myself, but from what I've heard, their like level design is really good because everything connects to everything. Decide actual game is how my game is going. Yes. Why is this the hardest part? Like, how can I build this much of a game that I haven't decided what it is yet? Like, building stuff is easier than just deciding what is actually good to build, which is crazy. It's funny, when you start out doing game development, the building part is the really hard part, and the ideas part is the really easy part. That's because you don't know that your ideas suck because you're not able to build them. And when you don't know how to build them, you can't play them to realize that they suck. So, when you actually get to the point where you can build, that's finally when ideas start becoming important again. Because you actually know how to build them, but you just realize that all of your ideas suck. Or just aren't honed. You don't have a, like this, I don't have a clear vision for what it is. I know exactly how it's supposed to feel. I just don't know what you're doing in it. Ugh. But, that's what we're going to do now. So this is original vision, like very first. Then it kind of turned into this. A game can't just survive on vibes alone, so there needs to be something. Even though vibes is all I want to do, because it's fun. I think it's because when you try deciding what the whole game is about, you think about the whole game. It's much easier to just tell myself I'm going to build a stupid cafe full of matcha addicts. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like I can come up with little specific ideas that all are in the moment great and maybe look good or whatever. But what is the experience that I want at the end of this? Because the issue is some of these, I feel like some of my mechanics do clash. So, like, clashing mechanics. Building system and progression up the mountain. That kind of clashes. Build system and puzzle elements kind of clash too. There's ways that I'm sure there's ways around it, but like in their current state, my idea of what the puzzles would be kind of clashes with the build system, because the build system kind of localizes you to your base. It kind of just keeps you where you are, or makes it too easy to get, like you said, get over things. Like if there's a big wall that you need to get over, you can just build over it, unless I put in some artificial constraints. Can't just throw people in a sandbox with nothing and expect them to give you money. Shocker, I was under the impression that's how gacha worked. See, maybe you can. I know the creature interactions is where it's at. Like, I know that's what I want. I want cool creatures that you can interact with a lot. Like, I feel like that's where... Because, I mean, I could just make it a Minecraft-y survival game, right? Like, where you just build the base. The further away you get from your area, the more dangerous things get. There's combat, there's, you know, whatever, all that. But I don't really feel like doing that kind of a world. Even doing, like, procedural generation, initially I was like, oh, that would be cool. But there's so many games that just do that and do it better. But what I might be able to do is systems where a bunch of little you know, creatures and... Oh, he's good. Where it feels like you've got a little ecosystem around you. These dudes all doing the same thing? No, okay. Eventually, we do kind of want them to group together. Not even sure I'm going to add combat to mine. Yeah, I don't have any plan for actual combat. Puzzle elements could be really good. Like if we stick with kind of a progression idea where you are trying to go up the mountain, ascend to the mountaintop, you know, then puzzles could be good, but then we got to lean a lot heavier on story. And then once again, the build system doesn't really fit into that as much. And even a lot of the systems of like crafting and, you know, items and stuff don't really fit into that as much. They are more for progression of your character to like make him more powerful in some way, which is kind of unnecessary in a game like this, especially if you have no combat. And it's not a full-on automation game either. It's not like a factory game. Oh boy. Are we having an existential game dev crisis? Maybe. But you got to have that every once in a while. It's good. I know I like the meteors. Puzzles are lower scope and you can make a new one every time unless it's The Witness where there's puzzle iPads everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, puzzles, it's doable. Then it's like it's just a little more, I don't know. Let's see. If you subtract combat from Zelda Tears of Kingdom, I think that's your game. Zelda Tears of Kingdom. Let's take a look. Tears of the Kingdom. Ooh, okay. This has kind of the floating islands. So this has full open world going on, which I'm still deciding whether or not that's the thing to do. But I had kind of assumed not. Man, these games look so good.
Very sword he carries.
Oh, see, like this. This kind of creature with base on top. That's kind of what I had in the other game. That's where you could have a more, like you could progress and bring your base with you. The problem with that is, of course, the fact that you're then limited on your space, like how big of a base you can build, because it has to live on a creature.
I know why I am here,
You witness a king's revival.
but you are not alone. Link.
Yeah. All right. We're just going to have to, I'm going to have to spend like the next, well, now and however long it takes to actually just figure out what I'm building. Do a game design doc. Yeah, I have well, I wrote one out a while back on my laptop. Not a full game design doc. But, you know, a general outline. But it's on my laptop somewhere, and I never looked at it since, so... But yes, this is true. Let me grab my coffee, and we will get started. We will figure this out. Let me see. Do I have obsidian on this? Yes. I will use obsidian. Okay, this will be here, new note. GDD. Oh, why is that not? Okay. If we do it in Obsidian, that means it's more official, you know. Then we have, you know, we have to keep it going. No, that just means I'll probably forget about this in about 3 minutes after I'm done with it. But we will attempt. First thing that we can do is just list out pros and cons of what we currently have. So this is like, we'll just call this initial GDD thoughts. Visuals. I'm happy with the visuals. No biggie there. Like, I know this is how I want whatever this game ends up to be. It's gonna look like this in some way. Because I genuinely enjoy what I've got going on here as far as the vibe goes. Totally fine with that. Your game is like my game, but with some actual work done, yeah. Yeah, I've put in a decent amount of work into this so far. Some systems are still broken, need to be worked on. There's still some visual stuff like arms clipping through stuff. I need to put that on a visual layer. I need better boxes. I need more placeables that you can put down. There's stuff you can do, but like even this placeable system, not super happy with it. It works, but crafting and stuff is right now it's instant, but that's a pretty easy fix. But yeah, like things do technically work. There's systems for, especially for the build system and all that. Like it's all there in some form. So yeah, once again, looks are there. I'm good on that. I haven't even really put all that much work into the looks. I just like the terrain and stuff is definitely, this is literally just one mesh from Blender that I pulled in here, like these little raised sections. I'm not doing any sort of actual terrain. It's just a couple scenes I've pulled in. But like creature design wise, I always feel confident on that. Yeah, so pros are the visuals. This can be kept. Are you planning on making this a proper commercial release? I at least want to get to a downloadable demo on Steam that has some form of gameplay that you would call a demo for a game, you know. So yes. It can change a lot. Like I don't mind if the whole design changes a lot. That's fine. But we need to lay something out besides just kind of vague ideas in my head. Do I like the moon? My game is about the moon. Nice. I do enjoy the moon. I'm a moon enjoyer. Okay, visuals are good. Build system is good. Placeables can be worked on. But unsure if necessary. Oh man, it's even scary to think about getting rid of something like a build system. Especially when that was like the core initial idea of the game. But I don't think that I will get rid of it, but cons. Build system clashes with exploration / I mean, in the same way that it does in like Minecraft. But in Minecraft, you don't need your base necessarily. Or it doesn't need to be anything special. In Minecraft, you can, you know, just throw together a wall around you to protect you at night. Exploration / progression up the mountain. How complicated the whoops, resource gathering and creature interactions is. We will think of more of these. Pros, really, the big pro is visuals and vibe. Like, that's the biggest thing. But I'm leaning so heavily on that. Let me try to imagine what it's like to spawn into this game. Like when you have nothing. And what's the first thing you do? Okay. I have something. It's very different from the current game. Not really, actually. Potential loop. We got a potential loop here. And you guys can let me know what you think. One. Okay, let's do this. Potential loop. Okay, problem the player faces. This is also kind of an initial idea that I had, which is the forest is dark, because the whole idea was that you were going to kind of go through and light up the forest as well, like bring life into it again. Forest is dark and corrupted. Creatures are either wild, or the creatures are wild and unruly in some way. Your job. Goal. Light up / clean up the forest and ascend the mountain. Universe is a dark forest. It is. Where are all the aliens? Ascend the mountain. Now. Mechanics. Remove corrupt elements. This could literally be like trees are wrapped in corrupt vines. Stuff like that. Thorny vines. Whatever it is. Elements. Build homes for the creatures / help out those who don't need homes. So this is where building could still be there. Maybe it's not as much about you. Delt says, what's up, man? How you doing? Maybe Lodal Knot could give you some inspiration. Let's take a look. I do like the idea of building not necessarily being for you. Like, it can be for you. You could still build your home and stuff. But what if you're also building for the creatures? Because it's not all just going to be rats and golems. Like, there's going to be some creatures that are more, that actually live in homes, like little elf-type creatures. Let me take a look at this. You said, what was it? Lottle Knot. Now I'm just imagining becoming a totalitarian landlord to the squirrels. That's kind of how it's going to be. Let's look this up.
GUP-14 has been left polluted.
Okay.
Your mission as a log
Oh, okay,
lord
so this
to
is
help
like
restore the
cleaning
planet's
it up.
luscious
Yep.
ecosystem. But before you depart, are you ready? Here's a summary of what you'll need. The bubble gun. This is your main trusty tool. The bubble gun allows you to zap away goop
Yep.
and collect trash.
This is
The
kinda
scrap
similar.
vac. Using
Yeah,
its
you're just,
suction,
like,
the scrap
cleaning
vac is
things
designed
up.
to suck in microplastics, which otherwise can't be collected. Later in your adventure, you'll have access to the puddle scrubber.
And the whole thing is
a
to
more
kind of
relaxed and effective
live
way to remove
in
thick layers of goop
a
from
bit
the
of
ground.
harmony with
By
the forest,
recycling
right?
the items you collect on your adventure, you'll be able to craft more items and upgrade the items you already have. Remember though, you need to survive this mission. Your oxygen levels will deplete whilst you're cleaning the planet, so be sure to use oxygen rings and bubbles to keep your oxygen.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Corner says you should watch all the Ghibli films if you haven't already. They have phenomenal creatures that tie really well into the environmental design. Okay. Huh. 1999 British cleaning product infomercial. Yes. Yeah, I'm that kind of mechanic is big. I also just like the idea of like building homes for the creatures. And that is kind of the puzzle element of the game, if I want the puzzle elements, which I do. So you remove corrupted elements, build homes for the creatures. Also build your own home just for the fun. Fun of it. I don't know if crafting and stuff is necessary for this. We should do this subtractive thing. We can always add things back in if we decide that we have taken away too much. But that is a good idea. I'm trying to remember. Was that Corner that suggested that, or was that Fishy? You guys both have green names. Oh, it was Corner Lord. Thank you. So, because the other thing was like, I've had ideas of like, oh, you could literally bake for some of the creatures and stuff. And that would be part of this, is like you are kind of taking care. You're taking care of the forest rather than, and like lighting it up. Which then means my build system may change a lot. Like, there would be the builds that you're doing for the creatures, and the builds that you're doing for yourself. This is a possibility. We'll keep it in mind. But if it really is light up / clean up the forest and ascend the mountain, then what does that entail? Basically, what's the most stripped down version? Most stripped down version is that you don't even really care about inventory. You don't really care about crafting. You don't really care about building. And you're literally just, like going through a map with a wand, doing puzzles. That would require very different, like more intensive linear design and puzzle design. So I'm kind of leaning away from just that. Optimal zipline location. Yep. I still need to build in a zipline. I'm planning on it, but it will require a rework of my placeable system. Because I realized after I had built my placeable system that, like, all it is right now is you can just select a item that is a placeable. Oh, nice. This is fun. Just gets all up in your face. And then you can place it, but if you have, like, a zip line, you need to place one side and then the other, preferably. And if you have, like... So then you would need placeables that aren't just one item. They need to be, like... You have to click twice to place them. So I need to rethink that. The other thing is I could, like, with a zip line, I could just have it where you select it, it looks down there, and it places it way down there on the ground and just has a higher range. And then it automatically places one where you are or something, you know. But that still wouldn't work for, like, fence posts, because for a fence you would want to be able to, like, place a post and go over here, place another one, then go over here, place another one, like, yeah. Inventory is a pain to set up, but having your slots ready just feels good. Yeah. It really is nice. Like, having it actually done. The placeable system is janky right now. Like, I don't like this whole, like, system of, like, you can't really line things up very well. It's just really hard. Okay. We go back to thinking. The hardest part. Figuring out what game to build and not what visual project to build. Okay. I'm going to take that out. That's not a pro. Like, the system for building works, but that's not like a pro of the game design. That's just a plugin I built and it works well. Once again, I have to kind of go back to, like, what's the first thing that you do when you pop up in this world? Do you have anything with you? Do you go around and pick stuff up and then craft something? It's an opportunity? Yeah, it is. Maybe the creatures just come to chill at the player's house and the player's character is an ultra vegan, so they obsess over them making their stay good. That is actually another thing I've thought of is, like, you know, the classic leave a pie on the windowsill for some creature to grab or something. Things like that, where they come to you. Like, the creatures look to you for help. I do like that, Fishy. Including, like, some of these creatures are going to be, like obviously the rock golem, he's big. So he's probably not going to hang out in your house. But there's going to be other humanoid creatures that even speak to some extent or communicate to some extent. Thinking about doing an NPC system where they just have inventory slots, and if you give the NPCs equal or better value, you gain rep. And if you take more than you give, you lose rep. Oh, yeah. Like a trading system, you're saying? Yeah, I drank my coffee so fast and I want more, but I only made 1 cup. Just a poor decision. Okay. Debugger, we still have weird navigation stuff. That's fine. Don't think about that. That's just distraction. Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of cool. That would be, feels simple. Simple enough. You know, coffee? I do just caffeine in any form I will take. Coffee just happens to be cheaper than buying way too many Red Bulls. Although I did just also drink a Nocco, which is like too much caffeine in the first place. Okay. So what do I focus on? Do I focus on... Okay, this is potential loop. Potential loop 2. Purely cozy cottage simulator. I could go full cozy cottage simulator where you don't care about going anywhere. You're just going out, gathering resources, building your home, decorating it, and chilling with the local creatures in the area. There is that. And that would be like for hyper casual chill game. Where it's just purely you're just being creative with your build. Is there that much there? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Probably not. My GF just played that kind of game, Creature Kitchen, if you're interested. Interesting. Nocco, yeah, Nocco's good. I'm a fan. Then I'm going to add a money furnace that will fuel my skyship. There we go. Money furnace, perfect. Why is game design so hard? It shouldn't be hard. It should be the easiest part, right? What do I actually have fun doing in the game? Building is fun. Like, it is actually enjoyable to just build. It's definitely enjoyable to just throw these around. So some wand mechanics would be cool. Like this. The moon, yes. There it is. Goodness, it is impossible to think. The other problem is I also haven't slept well the past couple days. So my brain is slightly fried. If you are out to help the forest critters, you could do more base building because, as you said, it's not just for you. Wand is for clearing the corruption that is spread from the comet pieces. Easy peasy, perfect. Comet, actually, I do have an idea for the comet, which is actually, it would be, you would get more materials from the comet. Because the comet could drop metals and crystals and stuff. But I do really, yeah, I do agree with the, like, building is not just for you. The wand is for clearing corruption for sure. Like, I think you can either just throw it and it like literally damages it. I have thought about like you're gathering, like having a cool particle effect where the particles are like getting pulled from the tree into your wand because there's a bunch of vines or something on the tree, thorns. Super cool. Go for it. Yeah, I think the man. Yeah. So then the building side of things, there's plenty of stuff that you could build for the creatures. Like you could build homes for the creatures, of course. But like these grass creatures, they're not going to need to live in a home, like a house. So then that would just mean that there would be different components. There would be like, for certain creatures, or there would just be like a craftable thing. Like I craft a little nest that rats go to, you know, and they like it. Is this a post-processing compositor thing or a shader on every object for the outline? It's just a post-processing. So there's like a quad mesh that just sits in front of the camera and does depth checking, and then it draws based on that. It's not perfect, and it kind of interferes with other shaders. Like I have this basic water shader, which I just pulled in, but you'll see like this guy right here, the outline is completely separated from. Or actually, no, it's not even that the outline is separated. It's that the outline is where the creature is, but there's a reflection, I think, of the creature. Maybe. Actually, I'm not really sure anymore. Yeah. It's a reflection of the creature. Oh, hey. What you doing there, bro? But, yeah. It's just a single post-processing. Okay. I might make one more small cup of coffee. Which there is an ad starting in 2 minutes, so I will wait for that to do it. Okay, what was I just thinking about? Maybe that dude from the Lorax is invading the forest and you need to gather an army of cute critters. Yes, that is true. So there is the situation of, like when you spawn in, right? Dark forest could be corrupted. The only light you get is from, you know, the moon and the tree of life. There's creatures in the night. It could be darker than this. It could be like this. Maybe you don't have anything. That's where the angels could come in, because I do have angels in the game. Or I will. One of them could fly in and give your first wand, which is basically just gathering and reducing corruption. do love my rats. So much coffee. Yep. Too much. All right, ad is starting in like 15 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and make another half cup BRB. Okay. That is going. Okay, there's also creatures that annoy other creatures. And there are creatures... Okay, all right. Let's think about this. This is going to be part of it. Like, there is still the building. Okay. Free creatures from other bad creatures. Scare away other bad creatures. Remove toxic nests, etc. Could even be that the tree of life itself is kind of wrapped up in this whole thing. Like it's kind of corrupted. What happens if I go to... Just want to test something. Okay, I guess I cannot do that. I was going to see if I could add something to your inventory on the start. I will... There's a way I could do that, I'm sure, but... The other thing is, let's say I, like terrain-wise, do I keep everything fairly limited? Do you have a lot of places to go, or do we keep it open? Do you have a lot of freedom of movement? Decision paralysis. Because here's the thing, like, what I need to figure out is if you need to progress. One, do you need to progress up a tech tree? Crafting, building better homes, etc. David does dev. What's up? Good morning. How you doing? So, do you have to do... Okay, it just does not. Oh, all right. Do I drink 5-hour energy every 4 hours or something? Basically. Especially when I'm streaming. I'm just heavily impulsive when it comes to caffeine. Do I need to... Yeah, do you need to progress up a tech tree? I don't want that to be the case. I want everything to feel fairly effortless, like you don't really need to be thinking about, like, progression in that sense. A million things are going through my head. Clean up the forest, ascend the mountain. This is still... like... This is still what I want, if possible. But then it comes down to, do you really need, like, a build system? And then if we don't really need a build system, then it's like, are we getting rid of the cozy side? Like, everything, there's clashing elements. Thank you guys for watching me just have existential crises. It's fun. I feel like I'm just going to loop on the same couple of issues. Yeah, because there is also the idea of, like, freeing certain creatures. Maybe some creatures are, like, literally trapped. And if you help them out, like the rock golem, he could be, you know, trapped somewhere. You free him, then he starts going around and doing things that help you out. Craft some wood. Man, I'm just in a non-thinking mode. Like my brain can't compute things. It's way easier when you just hyper-focus in on a mechanic that doesn't necessarily even need to be in the game and you just don't really think about that fact. That's way easier than trying to plan out an actual game. Okay, let me grab my half cup of coffee. Break up the goal into mechanics that'll help reach it. This is the issue. Well, okay, this is what we can do then. The main thing is I need to finalize actually what the goal is. Because then I can do that. You are right. What is the goal? Cozy cottage sim or ascend the mountain or both? This is kind of, I think this is the core question here. Thank you, Corner Lord, for keeping me on task and helping me figure out what actually matters. So this is what I need to figure out. Because I can make a game where you're in a cozy little spot that looks cool. There's stuff going on. There's creatures around. And really what you're focused on is just like, oh, I just want to build a cool house. So I go out and I gather resources to do that. I am creative in how I do it. And I can, interact with the creatures that are close by, but I don't really move from my spot that much, maybe. Let me see here, like... And a player can have fun doing this. Like, it actually is, I think, pretty fun to just build a place. Nope, that's not what I want. Fire pit. Let's do this here. Especially because I can make it very customizable, where you can do a lot of different types of buildings that look cool. That's not all that difficult. I can make it so you can build as many, or like, stone walls and different skins on the walls. And just a lot of different building components. So like, you can do these angled roofs. You can do your, you can be creative with it. Like there is something there. There has to be more to it in some ways. That's where like most survival games can just do a combat system, like things that are coming to try to take you out, so you have to build your home or whatever. But there is also just like, oh, I make my fire pit over here, or my fireplace, turn that on, that's cool, and then I add, cozy decorations everywhere, and just make a cool looking place, make it cozy, chill, go out, gather more resources, befriend some more creatures. That is an option. And I know that for some people, like I know I want my wife to be able to play this game, whatever it is, and have fun. And she does not play games. So what she wants to do is build a little house and decorate it. Like that's probably the primary thing. And maybe also interact with some creatures. Come on. Let me get it in there. There we go. And like when you think about the amount of people who play games like Minecraft in creative mode and just want to build cool looking things, then obviously that mechanic is like there's a lot there. But then it comes down to the surrounding world. What do you do? And that would be obviously creature interactions. So then would come the like you feed. Let's say you feed the rats and they go out and gather for you. There is that. The moment I do add in something like this Tree of Life and some sort of progression up the mountain, then the goals get a little different. Man. Do you think she would like Animal Crossing? I don't actually know enough about Animal Crossing. Let me see here. I'm just going to open up a random gameplay video.
What's up? Because I'm just Zach here. I can't change my name. And that's fine. I'll just go by Zach. Paradise. And if you want to earn some bells, he has a rather generous policy of purchasing just about anything. Not strictly advisable.
She might.
Man, if you buy
But if it gets at all...
probably buy for 40 if that.
I don't know. She doesn't really play any games, so if she was to play a game, this style probably, yeah.
There's a branch right there. Again, I don't know how much they buy them for, but we're gonna see. And I don't know if I'm gonna need my fruit for anything else immediately, but here we go. I think I picked up a weed. Oh, I am picking up weeds. These are all weeds. Oh wow.
How much is there, like, you can build in this, right?
I don't know, man. De-weeding, it's gonna take forever. And like I said, I would probably rather do that off camera. It's gonna be so boring.
This is like,
If I get 5,
is it fairly
I got a bunch
grindy?
of weeds.
You get to decorate and upgrade your house to get special items. You befriend villagers. I mean, that's pretty close to what I'm thinking. Yeah. That is pretty close, where you're like, your way of building your house and being able to upgrade things is through your interactions with the world, with the creatures. Yeah. Is there enough there? The other thing is I also know that I will do a creative mode of some sort. Goodness sakes. It's very difficult. Inspo. We could, inspo. Well, let's just say inspiration to look into one Animal Crossing. We can add more to that if we think of some. If it becomes primarily decorating based, the game becomes primarily decoration / coziness, which was once again the original plan. Rework placeables system to have anchor points on structures, because then you don't have to deal with the annoyances. Like, I could make it so you could either free place it or be on anchor points where it's similar to the build system where it like snaps into a place. Decoration base is heavy, or probably asset heavy, yes. I don't mind that as much. Asset stuff, I'm fine with. I'm doing low poly stuff. I mean, it still would take a long time, but it's fairly straightforward. You're just building stuff that looks cool, which I don't mind that as much. You're just building a lot of it. Then the thing kind of becomes, how do you make it so, like, how do you balance being able to progress through what you can craft versus having freedom to craft whatever you want? Like, do you restrict that at all? Do you just let the player be creative? Maybe I just have two modes. One is where it's like everything's really unlocked right away. You just literally build your base, have fun doing it, whatever, casual. And then another one where it's like you actually have to go out, gather resources. And then, so like Animal Crossing has the villagers. That's the other thing, is I know I'm going to have, intelligent creatures that you interact with. So maybe there are intelligent creatures show up and need homes. When you make them to their liking, they stick around and help out. So this also extends to less intelligent forest life. There could be an elf slash gnome like creature that speaks and does specific tasks, and he might need a little cottage with a kitchen and some other stuff, but the rock golem just needs a nice shed or something. So like that kind of thing where it's like maybe there's the building mechanics. If we did go that route, it could be like you're building a little village for creatures. Yeah, that's something. I hate having to figure these things out because this is where, in the past, every time I've run into this with a project where I have to actually think about my mechanics and what I'm doing, that's always where I'm like, oh, I just want to start another project, which I am not doing. This year, I'm not starting another project. I can rework this project, but I ain't starting a new one. I've done that too many times. But this is just gonna be something that I have to think a lot about, including off stream. The thing is, I don't know how much longer I can stream here. Might have to be a really short stream. We will see. Dr. Cap, what's up? How are you doing? Good to see you again. No new projects. This is what I'm forcing myself to do this year. I don't know if you've seen this one. This is my new project probably since the last time you saw me. Maybe. But I have this like sort of survival, sort of potentially puzzle, sort of potentially automation plus whatever story. There's too many things that it could be and no real direction for it yet. And so that's what I've been agonizing about for the past hour and a half. And I've got to figure it out at some point. We have all the stuff that we had in my old project. You know, I pulled in my build system, made it a little better. I've got some creatures in this world. I've got a little test world here. I've got some mechanics working. You know, some crafting. I've got inventory set up, crafting stations. You know, where you can craft extra stuff. I've got placeable system where you can, you know, craft things and then place them down. Similar to my other project, but just done in a little better way. And I've got a cool vibe going on. But I haven't locked in what the actual goals, mechanics, all of that, what they will actually end up being. So that's what I'm working on. Not much. I lurk and stream occasionally. Okay, nice. Overheard you choosing no battles earlier. Yeah. Yeah, either a story or mission goal system. Yep. That's the hardest thing that am trying to figure out what that goal is, what the overall, yeah, just what the overall goal is. Like, what is the point? What are you trying to do when you jump in the game? Oh. Yeah. Because I have ideas for, even like the ideas for interacting with creatures. I love the idea of being able to have a cohesive ecosystem, right? Where things are all working together if you do the right things. But then it comes down to like, okay, what does that actually look like mechanically? Like if I want to befriend the rats, do I just bring them food and drop it at their feet? That seems fairly boring. Do I build them a home? That's probably a little better. Do I have to trap them and then feed them? Like, well, okay, that could be a mechanic. And then what do they do once they're friends? Do they just automatically run out, go grab resources for you? Then what do you do with those resources? Is your goal just to build a nicer house, decorate it? Or are you trying to get up the mountain, ascend? Do you care about that? Do you just want to hang out and have a nice, cozy experience in the woods? I don't know. Could start out building a statistics gatherer, like number of things built, etc., then turn that into something. What do you mean by that exactly? Like, in principle. So number of things built as in like the goal is just to build a lot, or and then refine it later into something more story driven. Cheese factory, you got to befriend the goats first, yes. Because the issue is if you move on out of this area, why did you build all this stuff in the first place? Unless you end up coming back. But then if you end up coming back, how often do you want to have to come back? How long does it take? How annoying is it to have to come back? I really do like the idea of ascending up the mountain. There we go. I've got my meteor hiding off screen. The whole area just looks so tiny when you actually get out of it. Like some code that counts the number of rats found, things built, areas covered, anything, just to start with something and see where it goes. True, yeah. Because, I mean, that could be the thing that unlocks, you know. Like the graphics, but I think there are too many light sources for a web build. Are you saying, like, if I tried to just put it on, like, in a browser, you're saying? Because whatever you end up, you will have to measure things. Yeah, that's true. Can make the mountain into a puzzle area where you get special items, resources. Yeah. Time played, trees chopped or planted, rocks broken, holes dug, food found. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's not a bad thought, Cap. I think track things like built animals, befriended, etc. Start towards some sort of progression. Going up the mountain. I do like this idea of where you of the mountain being a puzzle area where you get special items and resources. The mountain is a puzzle area. It kind of works thematically too, where you get special items and resources. Not as a place you want to build. It's a difficult place, but not where you stay all the time. You need stuff from Zone 1 to help you on the mountain. And you need stuff from the mountain to help you progress in Zone 1. I like this a lot. It's like you're going up there when you need to, in some ways, or just when you're curious. But it could be difficult puzzles, things where it's like, I can't actually do anything about this part on the mountain yet because I clearly need to progress down at the bottom where I'm building my home, where I'm befriending creatures. Okay. That's something. The tracking things, this could be something where it's actually not like, where it's not hidden from the player, like you see it in some way. Visible in some way to the player, even if not just as stats. So like there could be some way of knowing that you're progressing on these things. Compatibility mode limits you to like 4 sources. Yeah, I don't know if I would even really put this on web though. Because I'm on Forward Plus, or I should be at least. Then if you build a display for it, you can reuse the display to show progress when you figure out what goals it will have. True, yeah. Everyone likes to see what they've accomplished, even as a relaxed do-whatever game. That is true. So, yeah, like, we could have... I like that. Straight up block building in the mountain that will save your sanity. Yeah, I like it. Reason given to the player could be simple. The tree blocks your magic, can't build. Yeah. I love that. I think if you start out simple to get an accomplishment, it will inspire you in a lot of ways. This is true. Block building on the mountain. Okay. So it is we're just going to say this. Goal. Cozy cottage sim and ascend the mountain to do the puzzles. Okay. This is good. Puzzle element is some of that. Taming, I'm just going to make this simple. We're going to do taming / befriending creatures and doing mountain puzzles. The remove corrupt elements, that could be a thing. The removing corruption from the mountain, or just lower section. Maybe. Goal. Light, clean up forest. Okay, we already have this here. We're going to clean up this design doc, which is... Okay. Potential loop. We already have the goal. Don't need that. Cons. This doesn't apply anymore. The build system doesn't need to. I can make it so it's pretty easy to get back down off of the mountain. We don't have to make it really, like, slow. This cons thing. Unsure. It doesn't really matter. Okay. We can get rid of that. We've done some thinking. Mechanics. Remove corrupt elements. Build home for the creatures. Yeah, that works. Build your own home just for the fun of it. Removing corruption from the mountain. Yes, maybe blah, blah, blah. Puzzle elements. Doing this. Doing mountain puzzles. These will be like more straightforward puzzles. Intelligent creatures show up and need homes. Yes, I like that actually. It's like more or less home building for certain creatures. Inspiration. Perfect. Can put that there. Oops. Okay. I like that. I like this loop of like you're building, you're doing stuff in zone 1, but then you always can go up the mountain to or you will need to get better resources and stuff, better unlocks. And some of the creatures, some intelligent creatures might tell you what to look for on the mountain. So this is where some story elements come in. Yeah? Yeah, I like that. Okay, that does not work. These are not real words, so whatever. Ooh. So if I really want to, I can make a small mobile-based creature design like the old game where you might not be able to build on the mountain, but you can build on top of a creature that you can take up the mountain for a small mobile base to carry certain things that you might need for the puzzles. Something like that. There could be that. I don't mind it. Potentially. We'll just throw that up there. But I do need to bounce out, unfortunately. I gotta go. But okay, this is good. This is good to get back to the game and actually have an idea of what I'm doing. There is a loop there. Which means the main zone needs to be big. There needs to be a lot to do in the main zone. The mountain needs to be the thing that you it's a thing that you return to over and over again. And as you do, you unlock new sections. And we can just really design the crap out of it to make sure mountain needs Dark Souls level interconnection to make it not super annoying to have to climb every time. Unlock shortcuts, etc. So something like that. Like, really design it so then it doesn't feel annoying to have to just climb it every time that you need to go get some new resource or something. And it will be less about resource gathering. Like, there will be some resources maybe you can gather up there, but maybe it's more like specific items that you get or unlocks that you get, rather than just like, I got to go up there to gather more of this specific kind of crystal or something, you know. More like big things that really affect what you can do in the game. Anyway, I do have to bounce, so I will see you all later. Thank you guys for being here and helping me figure this out. You have all been indispensable, because I think now I have a good idea of where I'm going. In the YouTube chat, Vinge, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Dr. Cap, good to see you as always. Thank you for stopping by and helping me out here, because I really do like your idea too, of having this tracking system, basically. I'll have to build that in. I'll have to do more UI design, which is my least favorite thing, but still important. Corner, thank you for being here too. Really appreciate it. And Fishy. And Delt, appreciate you too. Who else was here? Curd. Yeah. But yeah, appreciate you all. Thank you. This is really, actually really helpful. This will keep me from not abandoning the project. Good to see you again. Yeah. Peace out. We'll see you next time. I'm trying to get back to streaming regularly again. I keep having things that interrupt, but we're getting there. But yeah, we'll see you all later. Peace out. Have a good one. I gotta go. So, bye-bye.